Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Studios here, and welcome back to another video. And today, I'm going to be ranking all of James Cameron's movies from the weakest to the best. Now, James Cameron is one of the greatest directors of all time, alongside Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee. And I mean, you guys know how much I love those directors, especially for making Frozen 2. But James Cameron is a genius. Maybe out of all big the big name directors, James Cameron might be my favorite of them all because first of all, he made two of the most successful movies of all time. Titanic, which is now pretty much a number three, and Avatar, which still remains the highest grossing movie of all time. And yeah, he's made so many iconic movies as well. And recently James Cameron just made a new one. So yeah, this will be a very quick ranking video because I already reviewed each and every single one of these films on my channel. So I'll only give my brief summary of them. So yeah, now before I start this review, I just want to mention that I am not gonna watch Piranha 2. I know Piranha 2 was technically James Cameron's first movie, but yeah, that movie was a failure. And I heard that James Cameron got fired. James Cameron got fired from in the middle of making the film. We can all agree that I think everyone I know says Piranha is the worst one, and if you think that Avatar is worse than Piranha, then you're definitely lying, and you're going a little too far. I'm not gonna watch a Piranha movie, so and you can't make me. So yeah, let's watch these now. Let's rank all the canon James Cameron movies, the ones that are canon, and the ones that don't have studio interference. Coming number 8, the weakest James Cameron movie for me, The Abyss. Yes, I understand that people say The Abyss is a classic and it's an underrated gem and deserves more love. But to me, my personal opinion, I feel like The Abyss is, yeah, this is my least favorite film. Now, don't get me wrong. I think The Abyss is a very interesting movie, and a very yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very well made film, and I love this as an alien film. I know aliens underwater is very interesting, but the story is just not very engaging with me. The story is very not very engaging. Although I love the visuals and the the performances and solid writing, I should say, but it's just not a movie that I would rewatch. It's more of a movie that I would respect more than, and admire more than like be my personal thing. But this movie is still great. Don't get me wrong. Coming number 7 is True Lies. This is James Cameron's most different film because when you think about James Cameron, the first thing you think about is either Titanic or the rest being action sci-fi movies or just simply sci-fi movies with The Abyss. True Lies is pretty much the least recognizable James Cameron movie because of how different it is. True Lies is a comedy spy movie. It's pretty much the James Cameron parody. No, James Bond parody. Feels like James Cameron wants to direct a James Bond movie, and he just he couldn't really do it, so he just made a James Bond parody. I like his movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It's very cheesy, very action packed. Although maybe it would have been better if it took itself a little more seriously, and the villain is weak, but I like this movie, and I think it is pretty underrated. Yeah, just yeah. Okay, well, whatever. But yeah. Nothing much to say. Coming number 6 is The Terminator. Okay, now we are getting to the James Cameron movies that I think are absolute masterpieces. And I rated each one of them a 10 out of 10. Yes, the Terminator is pretty low on the list, but I think this movie pretty much gets overshadowed by its sequel. So no one talks about this. Although this is actually the highest rated James Cameron movie with a whooping 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I wish Terminator 2 got that rating as well. But yeah, the Terminator is an absolute classic, and a very simple story. It's pretty much more of a sci-fi slasher type than an action, and yeah, pretty much as James Cameron's first canon film. Pretty much yeah, this movie is This movie is just really good. Yes, it is outdated at parts, which is why it's lower in the list, but I still really dug this movie. Coming number 5 is Aliens, the best in the Alien franchise and the best movie in 1986. This movie, yeah, it's just simply a masterpiece, and I know that people prefer Alien, release called Alien, but to me, Aliens is better. Yeah. This movie is pretty much just the weakest of James Cameron's sequels, but James Cameron is the king of sequels. He knows how to make a sequel better than the original. And Aliens is pretty much a perfect example of that. James Cameron literally took someone else's movie and made it better. And yeah, this movie is a lot more complex. This movie is a lot more complex in story. It's a lot more rich. It's bigger, and I'm just more of an action fan than a straight horror fan. So, yeah. Coming number four is the most controversial James Cameron movie, but the most overhated of them all, Avatar. Avatar is basically the Last Jedi of James Cameron's films, although slightly better. I will never understand the hate for Avatar. This movie is such an underrated masterpiece, and it's pretty much joined my top 100 favorite movies of all time now. Thinking about it, although I do think Inglorious Bastards is still my favorite movie of 2009. Maybe I actually might think about putting Avatar as my favorite movie of that year, but I'm gonna think about it. I'll give it some thoughts, but yeah, I mean, I love Avatar. I mean, we get all yeah. I mean, this movie pretty much changed cinema forever. This is the highest grossing movie of all time, and say what you want about the story and the characters, but if you think the visuals are bad, then you're obviously lying, because there is no way anyone can hate the Avatar's visuals, and I like the story as well. I think the story is not bad, and just because it's similar, that doesn't make it a bad the story. Yeah, coming number three is Terminator to Judgment Day. Okay, well, for my number three and number two, it pretty much it was a tough decision to for me to decide which one of the two is better. Number three and number two, and as you could tell by the ranking, I think you can already guess what my number two is. The Terminator and my number two spot. It was hard, but yeah, like what I said, yeah, I mean, consider that this is not number three. I think you already know what's at number two. Terminator to Judgment Day is a perfect sequel. Another example of why James Cameron is the king of sequels. This movie is just epic and really action packed. John and this movie is also relatable. It's with John Connor. And it's not all about the action and the story. I mean, it has the same story as it has the same story as the first movie, but it really expands on it by adding more layers to the story and adding more themes to it. And yeah, just a masterpiece. That changed the action movies forever. All right, up at number two, Titanic. Yeah, people, I think Titanic is the best James Cameron movie. Well, before the number one. Before the number one took its place. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't stop thinking about Titanic. Titanic is my second favorite Best Picture winner, second only behind Return of the King, and it's pretty much one of the most iconic films ever made. This is pretty much James Cameron's most successful film. Yeah, because this movie took home 11 Oscars, including Best Picture, and made $1 billion. This is the highest grossing Best Picture winner. I'm gonna say the first Cameron movie to make up $2 billion at the box office. And man, you could see what the game changer this was. I have no idea why people say this movie is overrated. I mean, Jack and Rose are like top 10 best combos of all time. No denying about that. And this movie does have a reason to be 3 hours long, because it does have different layers of Jack and Rose's romance. Because it really is a romance movie, and then it really takes its time to capture the moment of the sinking ship. I love the idea of fictional characters falling in love in the midst of a tragic event. Screw you, Michael Bay, for trying to replicate this movie. But yeah, this would have been my favorite James Cameron movie. If it wasn't for one that recently topped it. And my number one favorite James Cameron movie of all time is Avatar: The Way of Water. No other James Cameron movies come close to this absolute masterpiece work of art. This movie shows why James Cameron is the king of sequels, because he really knows how to take the first movie and improve upon it, and it shows that sequels can be better than the original if done right. And yeah, I mean, yes, this movie is pretty much very similar to Terminator to Judgment Day, where it is similar to the first film, but they add layers to the story to make it better and stronger and also bigger as well. This movie is a lot more personal. It really tackles heavy themes of family, and environmental message, and it even tackles the movie even goes as far as tackling themes of prejudice between the Navis that we know and the new Navis from the village that they go to. And this is the most visually stunning movie of all time, period. And this movie is something truly special to me. This is my second favorite movie of all time, behind Frozen 2. This is easily the movie of the year and my Best Picture winner of the year. And this is without a doubt the number one best James Cameron movie of all time. So also from my ranking of James Cameron's movies, what is your ranking of James Cameron movies? Who agrees with me that Avatar: The Way of Water is the best James Cameron movie? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my review of Star Wars: The Last Jedi for its 5th anniversary. Bye guys.